This episode of Simple Civics Greenville County is brought to you by Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, providing free books to children 0 to 5 throughout Greenville County. To sign up, visit greenvillefirststeps.org/free books. That's greenvillefirststeps.org/free books.
How can our neighborhood public schools innovate to meet the needs of all students so that they have access to the world-class education they all deserve? In 2024, Greenville County Schools launched an ambitious pilot program called Elevate, designed to answer just that question in chronically underperforming schools, Alexander Elementary and Lakeview Middle. I'm Catherine Schumacher with Public Education Partners, and on today's episode of Simple Civics Ed Talks, I speak with the principals of both schools, Dr. Dawn Hooker of Alexander Elementary and Towers Rice of Lakeview Middle, along with Dr. Charlotte McDavid, Greenville County Schools Assistant Superintendent for Transformation, to hear about the pilot and get an update on some incredible early results. Dawn, Towers, and Charlotte, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you guys and for our listeners to hear about the Elevate pilot that we're doing here in Greenville County Schools and some early good news that we have about it. So we're going to jump right in. Charlotte, can you start by giving us a basic overview of the purpose behind Elevate and what Greenville County Schools is doing differently at Lakeview Middle and Alexander Elementary?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us today.
Of course.
Greenville County Schools is celebrating reaching new heights, and Elevate is a part of that story, a powerful belief that when we lift up our schools that need us the most, we lift up our entire community. The question is, what would happen if all of our students received the promise of a high-quality education consistently across Greenville County Schools? And we looked at our schools across the district and where we saw opportunities for schools to, or even the greatest potential for schools to perform at higher levels. That is where we began. We began with Alexander Elementary School, which at the time was the lowest performing elementary school in Greenville County. We began at Lakeview Middle School, where historically, since 2007, 2008, Lakeview had been identified as a school by the State Department as at risk, below average. And when we looked at the designation of school improvement from the State Department, there had been 2 cycles, and Lakeview had been identified. So we recognized that beyond what anyone else might be able to do, we as a school district needed to do something different, something innovative in order to deliver on that promise of our Greenville County vision for all students. So that was not met without challenges.
It was radical.
It was radical. It was radical. It was innovative. It was hard, but we do appreciate the commitment of our Board of Trustees and our leadership in providing all of the supports necessary for our schools to be more successful.
There was money that was approved by the board to put behind this pilot, and these were resources from the fund balance, so it was this sort of pot of special money that we had for innovation. It's the value of having a robust fund balance, is you can sort of innovate around things. So Dawn, you were already a principal in Greenville County Schools and had a great reputation as a change agent already. What appealed to you about, taking on the opportunity presented at Alexander Elementary? And then what made you nervous?
The first time I heard about it was in a principal's meeting. And, I thought, wow, that's something right there. That's a big deal when it was explained and how it was explained and what was going to happen and the process. I think my table was just kind of like, oh, that's something new. I mean, what are we doing here? What made me excited? A new initiative. I mean, radical, just like what you guys just said. For me, it was the challenge of, okay, I've done it at East North Street and we've been excellent for 3 years. And this is a different model. Let me see if I'm gifted enough to lead a school like that.
Personal challenge.
Something different in my career. And then having the same vision, being able to create that vision right off in a school culture. And then as you're interviewing, getting people to see the vision, getting people to buy into the vision right then and setting the tone for the work that needed to be done. And so I believe that was a very positive for our school to get it built. Nervous part, all of it. I mean, you question yourself as a leader, you question yourself, as a person, your energy level, can you keep up what needs to be done? It takes a lot of work to do transformation. You have to have a lot of buy-in from different areas, and I knew the district was going to support. What does that support look like? What challenges are going to come with that, or what challenges are going to come with these teams that you put together, these people that don't know each other that are coming into a brand new school, don't know Greenville, and the list could go on. But luckily, it has definitely worked out.
So Charlotte, hopping back to you, let's talk about what the model entailed. Like, what happened? What were the steps?
The steps in this pilot were strategic in that we recognized the importance of our leadership and our teachers in the model. So we re-envisioned our faculty and staff and gave everyone an opportunity to recommit. We selected leaders that we knew or felt confident could bring this to fruition or could carry forth that vision. So the first step was having all of the existing team members as well as working with our HR department for a nationwide search for the best of the best who wanted to recruit high quality teachers who had experience in a classroom or were new to the field and had the background that we felt would be successful. So that first step was probably the hardest, finding the team. The leadership teams first. The principals were able to recruit and bring in the leadership teams. And from there, they collectively interviewed hundreds of teachers. With the reselection process, we made sure that all of our existing staff, those that chose to remain and those that were selected to go to other places, were placed and comfortable so that by the time the new year started, everyone had a place to be.
Right. And part of the idea behind Elevate, too, is something that's being explored in different places statewide, which is the idea of incentive-based pay. So all of these educators who were being brought into these two schools, they were getting a baseline bump in pay. And then also there were sort of benchmarks, and if you hit those, then you get bonuses.
Yes. So that with recruiting them, we sent the message. This was a once in a career opportunity. We did not want to only recruit those who were interested in higher pay. We wanted to recruit teachers and leaders who were interested in this vision. They did receive a higher base pay along with other incentives along the way. With our higher multilingual populations, there are incentives for being bilingual. With our population, that is helpful in working with our parents and students and being able to communicate and relate. They also received incentives for the multilingual endorsement and additional pay for summer professional development. We started the summer after everyone was hired. There were multiple touch points, but by the second week of July, we held what we call Elevate Week. And so for the first time, people from across the country, across the state came together as a team to learn what it was like to elevate. That was an experience that our principals crafted along with some district leadership, some national presenters, to outline the expectations and to have them to grow as a culture, a climate, to build the camaraderie that would build the teams who would plan for our students' success. And that week went well. They were over, between the teams combined, we put in almost 5,000 hours of professional development. That was base pay added, but they had to attend. And it was one of the things that our teachers said really contributed to their feeling of confidence and support when they came into the Elevate scenario.
Towers, you came in as an assistant principal in the first year of Elevate. Then you stepped into the leadership role this year. So first-time principal. What was something that you watched that you brought in from that, AP role and coming into this new leadership position? Like, what gave you the confidence, or what gives you confidence to sort of be in this new position as the principal at Lakeview this year?
That's a great question. And it has felt like a lot of pressure at times. For me, it feels like such a privilege. I feel so fortunate to have this opportunity, right? I was a key part of recruiting and hiring and vetting the staff that we have in place, right? And then also, so to be able to step into this role following on the heels of my longtime mentor, somebody that, has been a friend and a colleague to me, Jennifer Couch, who was the first Elevate principal at Lakeview, to be able to follow on her heels was just such an enormous opportunity and honor. So I think being an assistant principal in the building last year, especially in the first year of Elevate, being a part of building those systems and structures. It's a lot like building a school from scratch. And so being there on day one and having those relationships with staff, being embedded in the instructional practice and having walked through classrooms and sat in countless observations and led professional development, I think all of those things gave me confidence in stepping into this role. But also, I think more than anything, having the year I know the students, right? I know the families. I know the community that we serve at Lakeview. And I have seen, it was very clear to me after just a month at that school that there's tremendous opportunity there. There's tremendous capacity, particularly amongst our students. So to have that experience and to come in and see the opportunity there and really to identify what are the barriers. We talk a lot at Lakeview about how can we remove the barriers that are in place in front of our students and in front of our faculty. And so have a year to kind of identify what those key barriers are has given me a lot of confidence to move forward.
This seems to be working.
Lakeview Middle School, after having been underperforming by state metrics over 2 decades, received the first overall meets the expectations of the state and average rating, 4 points from good in the first year. And with that, excellence at the middle school and school culture climate. When you look at that report card, when Lakeview was identified with the ranking, they were second from the bottom of all middle schools in South Carolina. Second from the bottom. That designation meant they were in the bottom 5th percentile of the state from 2018 through last year. So in the first year to achieve, again, meeting those expectations with the potential of exiting, great potential for exiting that state identification list, being featured most recently at our state Elevate conference for growth, and continuing that culture and climate with some innovative ways of introducing G+ through our language biliteracy program, kind of building our students toward capitalizing on those gains, and through our agriculture, our GTT, we've seen success that are on paper and off paper. Alexander, with that same report card, went from unsatisfactory to excellent in the first year. Quite unprecedented to have that level of growth in 1 year on the report card, and still there's room for more. Also, excellent in student progress on that report card, meaning that the acceleration rate of growing students and meeting those goals was extremely high. We in Elevate have a bonus incentive program for teachers to earn, of course, additional incentives school-wide for the school-wide growth or meeting the school-wide goal, and individual teachers. So at Alexander, the school-wide goal that was set forth in Elevate was met, and so we celebrated with a huge celebration of every staff member, every support team member at Alexander. We celebrated the front office staff, all the teachers, instructional aides, the maintenance, the transportation, everyone who worked and supported our students received part of that because they are a part of that. In Greenville County Schools, we recognize that collaborative effort that everyone weighs in, and I dare say that recognition and Elevate is what sets us apart from some of the other metrics.
Folks who are listening will probably want to know what's next. So Charlotte, I know you've been sharing the model with peers. We're in the pilot phase. What's next for the Elevate model here in Greenville County Schools?
When our Superintendent's Award revealed that Lakeview and Alexander had the highest growth among the elementary and middle schools, just in the scores alone, that was the first step. In innovation, both schools earned the Jeff McCoy Innovation Award. But with that, there are others who are wondering, how does that happen? So at the state level, we are sharing at the district level first, we're sharing with our peers. From the elementary, middle, and high schools, folks are coming to visit and saying, how does that happen? What are the tools within the culture, the instruction? How do you do that? That's happening at the district level. But at the state level, we have shared with SCASA and a Title I association, and we have a room full of people wanting to know, how does that work? There are elements of Elevate that can be embedded in other Title I programs across the state, and we're seeing that being invited in as part of the conversation from our Office of Transformation at the State Department as well. And then as part of that Jeff McCoy Award of Innovation that was presented, there is a national organization of ERDI, Educational Development Research Institute, that Jeff McCoy is now leading. And he has invited our teams to share. And at the end of February, we are going to host a special segment on transformation and action. And we have a lot of people who saw the initial presentation this summer, which Dawn was able to go to Chicago and share. They're coming and they'll visit Lakeview and Alexander, as well as spend half day with our district leadership team talking about the systems that are in place. To make Elevate work, we celebrate it with all of the departments at the schools, but we also celebrate with all of the departments in the district. The collaborative effort of HR, of finance, of operations and fans and all the teams coming together to make sure that we have a system that works. And it has been improved from the front door to the walls, the ceilings, the floors. There was nothing that we didn't touch in some way in the school and all the divisions and departments. So when they come from the national perspective, we'll be sharing how all of our systems work together alongside academics and our structures for coaching and observation and PLCs, things that have worked exceptionally well. But we are interested in sharing this model to anyone who will listen, because as was given in feedback from our Upbeat, which is our national survey we give for all of our faculty and staff, in which our 2 Elevate schools receive some of the highest ratings, looking at 100% from teachers who say they feel supported,
Wow.
they feel cared for.
That's amazing.
Yes, in conjunction with our community partners. When the teachers are supported, they can pour that into our students at a greater level. But to have that kind of feedback, but that person said, every educator should in a lifetime experience this type of transformation. It's a student success model, a culture building model, a belief in every child model. And for everyone who's listening really to hear this, Elevate is Greenville County Schools delivering on the promise.
I love this so much. I could talk to you guys seriously for another hour. Congratulations. And thank you to all of you for everything that you do every day for the students at Alexander and Lakeview. And really just on behalf of parents and community partners, we're really, really proud. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Simple Civics Ed Talks is a joint project of Greater Good Greenville, Greenville First Steps, and Public Education Partners Greenville County.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simpleCivicsGreenvilleCounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.